I think it was Miami, where all of their quarterbacks broke policy in a quarterback's room where they were all there and all of them caught COVID. No, it was Denver. They had to play a wide receiver at quarterback. Because all of their quarterbacks were suspended or had COVID because of breaking the COVID policy. And so they couldn't play any of their actual quarterbacks on their 53-man roster, and they didn't want to drop anybody to add a random quarterback, so they had a wide receiver playing quarterback. And the NFL refused to postpone those games, whereas there was an incident, I think, with Baltimore where a lot of them caught COVID and there was a policy broken. And they postponed the game like 3 days so that they could potentially get back and then play each other.
I had no idea about this, that they just had wide receivers, people playing just different positions to pick up wherever because they didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
How did they do?
Not great. I mean, it was kind of impressive, you know. It's like a lot of them and like used to play quarterback. Like I think this guy played quarterback in high school.
Yeah,
was the last time that he played. There were people that like I think even kickers. There were different positions because that's been done pretty frequently. I know Chad Ochocinco or Chad Johnson, depending on how you want to view him. He changed his name. I still like calling him Chad Johnson, but he's legally Chad Ochocinco now because he changed his last name.
Well, you got to respect his legal name and his choice to change it.
You know, but it's kind of a meme as to the reason he did it.
What is his name?
You're right. Chad Ochocinco. Chad Ochocinco, formerly known as Chad Johnson. He kicked for the Bengals when there was an injury at the kicker position and did very well. He kicked like a field goal and a few extra points and stuff back in the day. And so it kind of it makes you appreciate some of these other players' backgrounds and what they did before they made it to the NFL, because all of a sudden it's like, ooh, they have to do something new. This is interesting. At a professional level, how are you going to do? But really, I think the wide receiver quarterback ended up mostly running for his life.
I mean, I would imagine that you got to fall back on what you know, right?
Yeah, and then I think they lost that. They scored like one field goal, maybe a touchdown. They lost by a lot.
No way. It can't be.
But like, obviously, you know, it's an entertainment. That's what sports are at the professional level. It's entertainment. And so a lot of fans were upset because it's like, you know, they're rooting for this one team and they feel like the NFL or whoever's making these decisions. Obviously, a lot of people have cognitive bias in the sense that they prefer their team, so they think somebody's going against them when their team gets postponed and stuff like that.
Sure.
And if you know anything about sports, you have a regimented schedule before the game and a routine that you get into. So you practice a certain number of days, you do a walkthrough, and then you're ready for the game. And when your schedule gets thrown off, it can completely throw off your performance, because it's the same thing with like training for the Olympics. They all of a sudden had more years to train, but they had to revamp back up because they were tapering and getting ready for the games so that their body was recovered and ready to compete at the highest level, that they had to suddenly completely change the routine, and all of a sudden they're training longer. You got overuse injuries. You had other things crop up because of how the world had to adjust.
The world had to adjust. It definitely wasn't business executives being like, well, we can't make less money this year. The number always goes up. Why ain't it going up? Get that wide receiver a football.
I mean,
it couldn't have been something like that.
I mean, technically, they could have just been like, COVID, you guys have to still do your job, you know, but then they would have had the whole PR nightmare and people otherwise yelling. So, you know,
God forbid you slow down for even a second. That's why, like, you know, it's like the people who stream and, you know, they feel like they have to stream 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, because if they don't, they'll like their viewers will just fall away and forget them, which could happen, I guess.
Oh, it does.
As opposed to viewing it just like, hey, you know, prioritize yourself and maybe your mental well-being and doing it. No, not in that world out there. Not in that world at all. You must constantly destroy yourself for the good of the machine. Capitalism. Oh.
I mean, you're not wrong, but really, the thing is that's really more of an American issue because of the way that they do stuff.
No, what?
What are you talking about?
No.